Alright, everyone, and welcome to the Lunch Money Podcast. This is a brand new podcast we are attempting to do. My name is Ken. I'm one of your hosts, and
Frank, what's going
on? So we are just trying to do the podcast thing. I think
jump on the train.
Absolutely. We've been friends for a good amount of time. I would say about 2 years now, something like that.
Two and a half, I would think.
Yeah. Met through, I guess you could say, mutual friends.
Yeah,
but now we're besties.
Yeah.
Just so you guys know, we are both from New Jersey, unfortunately. I am no longer in school. I've graduated about 6 or so months ago, I want to say. And I am a baker. I make bread making bread. So that's what I do.
The edible kind, not money.
Yeah, well, both. I make
both.
the bread, making the bread. There it is.
You physically make bread.
I make loaves.
Yes. Yeah.
I make the loaves, and the loaves bring me money.
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still in school, almost done. Communications major, so podcasting should come easily.
Should.
Yeah, should. That's the key word, should. I've tried a few other podcasts, but it never really worked out. Hopefully, this third time's charm.
To the moon. Lunch money to the moon.
Yeah. Just like Dogecoin. Remember that?
That was
what a
was
time
something. GameStop for the win on that one.
Yeah. Wall Street bets.
Frank, and how do you make your bread?
A few ways actually. I either put it in the oven, or that was a joke. Yeah. It didn't land.
No.
Yeah, thanks.
Just
I make pizza, and I also do a little bit of sports commentating on the side. So
there it is.
Yep. That's the end goal.
So
the main income is the pizza, but
the pizza.
I am making a good amount of lunch money with sports commentating.
Amazing. So. And so this should come somewhat naturally to you, no?
Yeah,
You would think.
Yeah, I always liked doing this kind of stuff. So.
Yeah.
And obviously, if I want to make a living off it, it should come easy. So.
It should. But now we're making it. We're doing it for reals.
Yeah.
Doing it for reals. So couple hobbies, I guess I'll list off. Obviously working, going to the gym. Frank and I are both. We dabble in the video games. We like to play.
I dabble.
Dabble. Rocket League. Frank is into the Forzas, right?
Forzas. Yeah. I'll let you finish.
Oh yeah. I mean, I mainly play Valorant.
Sorry.
The amount of times that I've uninstalled that game is incredible, to say the least. But yeah, we're I wouldn't say we're gamers, but you know, we dabble. We dabble a bit.
Definitely a video game enjoyers.
Definitely.
No Valorant for me. No.
I
had it for a while, and then I deleted it. And then one of our other mutual friends said you should re-download it. I had it for a night.
Yeah.
And then it was gone again.
It was done. It was over.
Yeah, like the Forzas. I'm playing the new one right now.
Which one is that?
It's just Forza Motorsport now. But technically the 8th one.
Okay, gotcha.
Technically the 8th, but they just went back to simplistic motorsport. And then, like the F1 games, NASCAR games, big car guy. But, I also dabble in some other games like Rocket League, fortunately.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. And just, I like a lot of, like, games that, like, other people, like, either have heard of, haven't played, or like played but not in a while.
Into like example on that.
Example, like I really like the game Firewatch.
Okay.
That was really good. And one of my favorite games of all time, me personally, is the Life is Strange series.
Okay.
Me and my one friend are really big into that. Um,
Yeah, I
and then
mean,
just like other games that
yeah.
either at the time seemed fun.
So did you start playing games? What was your first console that you started playing games
My
on?
first console
Console.
was I got it for Christmas. I got a PS2.
Oh,
I got a
nice.
PS2, and the games I got, I had three games for it. One of which didn't work. I had oh wait, four games. Sorry, NASCAR Heat 2001,
Okay.
NASCAR Heat 2002,
Amazing.
Lego Batman,
Perfect.
and NHRA. The NHRA game didn't work,
Why didn't it
so
work?
I had
It
to.
was scratched
I
something.
don't know why it didn't work. Like the disc was fine. Like I
Yeah.
did all the old school techniques,
Mhm.
blowing the thing.
Yeah.
I used I used to lick the disc
God.
and like rub it.
Oh no.
It worked for like every other disc but this one.
You
So
had
I
the
just think this
secret
thing,
sauce. Secret
yeah,
sauce on that disc, that poor disc.
yeah. Some,
Can
some could say I was coated with the sauce.
can we find that disc and sell it, please? Big
I don't even know what a
prices.
console is. Yeah. What was your first console?
What did GameCube come out before PlayStation 2?
I think it did. Right? It had to
I
have.
I had a GameCube. Um I would say GameCube would be the earliest. Then I got the whole PlayStation 2, but then I went from PlayStation to Xbox when the 360
Mm,
came out. So I would say GameCube. I'm trying to remember games that I had on it, but I remember it was like one of those box TVs with a huge back, and
yep.
I had
I
it in
had
my
yep.
room, and it had like a DVD uh, tray, and then I had a VHS tray under the TV. It was just like this. It's like a lunch, like a microwave of a TV. Uh, had that GameCube. PlayStation. I had Battle. Oh, it was like this Star Wars game. It was.
Battlefront?
Was it Battlefront? Like the original Battlefront?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I had the Battlefront game. Um, and then yeah, just went on the 360 after that, and then love the Lego games, the Batman, the Indiana Jones. I never got into the Harry Potter one though. I'm not a Harry Potter person,
Yeah.
but
Neither am I. I went PlayStation 2,
mhm.
Wii,
Yeah, I had a Wii.
Xbox 360, Xbox One,
Mhm.
and then I got my PC, and then I upgraded the Xbox One to the X, to the Series X.
Okay. So I would say I went from GameCube to PlayStation 2. PlayStation. I had a PSP also. By the way, the
Oh my God,
PSP.
PSP
The
was
PSP
so ahead
was
of its time.
way ahead of its time. Incredibly so.
If it came out now, it would be bigger than
Yeah,
a Switch.
yeah,
Switch would have
absolutely.
no chance.
No, because the Switch is just a huge brick in your pocket. You can't
Yeah,
even fit
the
it in your pocket. The PSP though, the only thing about the PSP was it had like those small little discs.
discs. Yeah,
That those were annoying, but other than that, PSP. I had a Wii. I
yeah.
went
You
from
kids don't know
no,
the
no,
PSP days.
absolutely
My
not.
cousin had one, and whenever I would go over to his house, I'd play it.
Yeah, it was technically my dad's, and he had. Oh gosh, I think he had like a racing game. He had, that game. It has like the little animals in the ball, and you have to like race around the track. I don't remember what that was called.
I think I know
You know your
games like it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah. So I went from GameCube, PlayStation 2. We'll throw PSP in there. Wii, Xbox 360, Xbox One, and then there's a sale at my local GameStop. So then I got the PlayStation 4. I skipped PlayStation 3. Got the PlayStation 4 From
feel like a lot of
PlayStation,
people
yeah.
skip PlayStation 3.
From PlayStation 4, I went and I built my PC. So, I'm no
So,
longer a console person
so
anymore.
we dabble.
Yeah. Yeah, I
I have the
guess.
PC and the Series X. That's what I have right now.
Okay.
I go back and forth. Like it depends on the game I'm playing. Like MLB The Show is console
Mm-hmm.
game, so I play that. And then like if I'm playing like Firewall, like a lot of the games, basically Steam games, console obviously,
Yeah.
and then or
The,
PC, and
mm-hmm.
then console games like some other things. Because
Absolutely.
I like the discs. I
Yeah.
personally
I
like
mean,
the discs.
I always remembered buying the Call of Duty games, and I would stack all of the Call of Duties. I think I have them somewhere, but there wasn't a year that I did not get a Call of Duty disc. But then when I switch over to PlayStation, obviously there's no discs for PlayStation. But I've
Yeah.
yet to not buy a Call of Duty. It's just even if the game is terrible and I'm not playing it, I have to buy it.
See, I never played it, but like I didn't play it as much. Like I was never like Xbox Live
Mhm.
person. Like I didn't play online for a really long time.
Yeah.
Mainly because the games I played were just like I'm a big career story mode guy.
Okay.
So like I didn't need it. Number one.
Yeah.
Number two, it would have been me paying for it, and I didn't have the money. And number three, like just didn't have it. So when I got it, I started playing more online multiplayer and stuff.
Mhm.
But the first Call of Duty game that I played and finished, this is a hot take. It was Ghosts.
Oh no. I don't even think
Because
I don't even think I finished
because
Ghost Campaign.
because it came free with the 360.
The campaign.
No, the
The
game.
game. Yeah, 'cause it was that bad.
Yeah, it came free. So that was
It
the
was
only one
that
I
bad.
Yeah, that was the only one I did. But I was talking to one of my friends. When you think about it, what we've gotten, Ghost is one of the better ones now.
Now, yes. Yes.
Back then, no,
No.
no. It's okay.
Ghost I got the I never felt more regret when I bought the Ghost Hardened edition, which was like $100 rather than the $60 for the regular game. It was cool, but it wasn't worth it at all. But yeah, I
Yeah.
started playing back at like World at War, Call of Duty World at War, but I didn't have live until MW2, I believe it
Mm.
was. And so before that, I was just playing campaign. I would just play the campaign in different game modes. And my dad and sister were actually into it more than I was, and so that's what got me into it. Um, but yeah, I would say Call of Duty is definitely it's not as good as what it used to be. Obviously,
Mm.
um,
I'm
obviously,
not buying a new one.
no, I have to, but I
I'm not until Treyarch makes it again by Activision.
true, true. Um,
Um,
Going off of video games, we'll talk about our favorite sports teams. Just to get us to know a little bit more. Frank is a little bit more, um, what's the word? Yeah, I would say passionate. Passionate about sports. I'll just do mine really quick. The NFL team is the Carolina Panthers. We are now 1-8. 8, I think.
it's a lot. One and a lot.
8. Yeah, at least we got the one. Yesterday, the Panthers had
Mm.
lost. Oh no, they're 1-7. 1-7. We're not there yet. Yeah, not that great a season. We're franchising.
Oh yeah,
We're franchising.
yeah. Franchising.
But coming up next week on the Panthers, we're playing Thursday Night Football against the Bears, who are 2-7.
What a game!
2-7. So hopefully get a win. We'll see. Off to you, Frank. Your turn.
Um, if you haven't figured it out by now, I'm a big motorsports guy too. I'm a big Chase Elliott fan. Also a big Ryan Blaney fan. He just won the NASCAR championship. We're recording this on 6th. He just won the championship yesterday on the 5th. So shout out to him.
I don't think
Love
my
that
mic's
guy.
picking up my clapping, but I'm
Yeah.
clapping.
Love that guy. But when it comes to the other sports, big Philadelphia guy. Phillies. Not gonna talk about it.
South Jersey.
Yeah, Philly. Not gonna talk about it.
Nope.
Or yeah, Phillies. Not gonna talk about it. Eagles. 8-1, best team in the
We'll
NFL.
talk about that.
Little little banged up, but we're going into it with the bye, so
Yep.
that's fine. Sixers. Again, don't want to talk about it.
Nope.
Right now, I don't want to jinx it because we're playing pretty well.
Yeah.
And the season just started. I'm not gonna lie. I don't really watch hockey. Like I tried. I want to get back into it.
Yeah.
But like if or where it's obviously like the Flyers.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
with hockey, I only really watch like post game, or like if it's on when I'm at your apartment. Like, I'll watch it, but I'm not like clearing my schedule to watch a hockey game.
I will say playoff hockey is a lot more fun.
Definitely.
I have friends and family in Vegas, so I'm also a Knights fan, and they
Nice.
won me free Texas Roadhouse last year. So
Whoa,
yeah,
that's a good place. They're
Vegas,
they're
Vegas and six,
their
Vegas and six,
their
and they won it.
breads are good.
Reds,
The
yep.
Texas bread. Um, yeah, I would say for hockey, I would be a Rangers fan. For baseball, I would be a Yankees fan. I don't watch enough basketball to have an opinion on any team.
Yeah,
But if there's a game going on where I am not rooting for either team, I'll go with the majority and I guess root for whoever they're rooting for. I don't know. Especially with
go
you guys
sport,
with
go sport.
Go Sports. Especially with you guys in fantasy. Like, I don't know what teams you're rooting for half the time. Whether you're rooting for
I
just players or rooting for a team. I don't know. I'm just kind of there.
I'm also of the opinion of obviously I play fantasy, and
Hmm.
like a lot of who the player is goes into who I draft. Obviously, if they're good, obviously
Yeah.
I'm gonna draft them. But I'm of the opinion that you're allowed to like players
Okay.
that are on other teams. Like, let's, for example, baseball.
Hmm.
I'm a Phillies fan, tried and true. Bryce Harper's my favorite player.
Hmm.
Love Reese Hoskins. Love Castellanos.
Yep.
I love Cody Bellinger. He's on the Cubs right now, but he's a
Okay.
free agent. He's my favorite player that's not a Philly.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm a Chase Elliott fan in NASCAR, but like Ryan Blaney, I love him. So like I'm repping him with the shirt.
Yep.
He won the championship yesterday. So like I'm of the opinion you can like players.
But you have a team.
You have the team and you're like
Other
other
players.
favorite players. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I could see that. I guess like liking the Panthers, Christian McCaffrey being the running back for quite some time.
Oh yeah, and obviously
And
like
then
yeah, if they get
now on the
traded.
40 yeah, now on the 49ers, rooting for him on the 49ers, but not specifically rooting for the 49ers themselves.
Yeah.
Um yeah.
Like a perfect example is like when Sixers traded for Jimmy Butler. I love Jimmy Butler,
Mhm.
but he left.
Yeah.
And like obviously you're a little upset about why you leave. And
Mhm.
like it's different when you leave versus being traded.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
the reason Jimmy left turned out to be true. So
Okay.
um
So now do we like Jimmy Butler?
oh I love Jimmy Butler.
Okay.
Jimmy G Buckets, G stands for gets. But
Jimmy Buckets. Yeah, so I guess that wraps up our sport interests.
go
Uh,
sport ball.
Go sports. I'm not into golf. I don't like golf. I will put that out there. Golf is
I'll
probably one
play
of my.
it.
I'll hit. I'll hit.
I'd play it.
Yeah. Uh,
I don't
I don't
watch it.
know. I don't watch it. For people who watch golf, makes me like think they do the crossword puzzle in the New York Times every morning.
Ask me in like 20 years, and then
Yeah. Ask me when I'm
like
retired and maybe you might have
yeah.
a different answer. But currently, no.
I can't think of
Definitely
any niche sports. I mean F1.
not. Mm-hmm. Well, I love football just because I grew up playing football.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's just naturally there. I didn't really play many other sports. I mean, I follow track and field on Instagram, but I mean, I play a little bit of basketball, played a little bit of soccer, but like I'm not as into it as football. I think football is definitely my top sport
I only
to
really
follow.
watch like soccer, like at the World Cup. I won't
Yeah,
lie.
yeah. I'm not watching it just
That's
on a
just a good
random
though.
random Tuesday or something.
Messi's the goat though. Argue with the wall.
Messi. The whole thing. Yeah, I think soccer's cool and all. It's just not my jazz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are definitely things in soccer that are like above and beyond any other sport.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm
But
not dissing on soccer at all. It's just not not my thing. It's
yeah,
not
yeah, no,
like
it's not my thing. It's not my thing.
it's not. I mean, football is fun because it's like start the play, you run the play, play ends, next. But then going to soccer is just like a constant thing where there's a lot of wasted time. I'm not wasted, but there's a lot of time in between goals or penalties, whatever it is. So I think it's just like the patience I have for soccer is not there in the way
It's
of
definitely
interest.
one of the sports that's way more fun to play.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like that's with a lot of sports. Like, unless you like, let's be honest, unless you really like baseball, you're not
Yeah.
gonna watch baseball.
Mhm.
Or
Or basketball too. I mean,
yeah,
it's more fun to be in it and playing basketball than watching it because you're just watching just back and forth on the court, just like
yeah,
it's just point after point. I mean, if something cool happens, that's also pretty cool. But if the game isn't close at all, it's just not there for me. But I actually, as a kid, I had a trick shot Instagram for basketball.
I made a trick shot video
Okay,
too.
yeah, I had a trick shot Instagram. It was terrible. It was.
Me and my friend made a few videos, and it all stemmed from me standing on his porch. I picked up a frisbee,
Mhm.
and like so, you're standing facing the road on his porch, and like the net is beside you, just to give a gauge of where it was.
Mhm.
And I was like, "Yo, dude, perfect!" And I threw it, and it went and it curved right into the net.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, that's when I
sick.
peaked. That's when I peaked at life, and then
That's when I peaked at life.
that's when I peaked at life, and then we made a trick shot video after it.
After
So
it, so you didn't get that shot.
we didn't get that shot. We got other ones.
Okay. Yeah. The ones I made up, I put music in the background. One of them was I stood on the log pile in my driveway and hit a basket, and I had Kesha's Timber in the background. Um. Yeah. So if that doesn't tell you how well the Instagram was, I yeah.
Moving on.
Movie. Yeah. Oh gosh. Okay, so let's talk about why we chose lunch money. I think that'd be a
Like
fun topic.
because uh, a lot of the things we'll talk about are like things around the lunch table.
Yeah.
Back in middle school or high school even when
Yeah.
you weren't debating about sports and acting like you're on first take or get up.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of the lunch talks.
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
my reason, by the way. That's my
yeah.
reason.
I agree. Cause like when you're in school, middle school, high school, you have like what 3 hours after you start the day to get to lunch. So you're in class. You're kind of just sitting there. You're annoyed. You're bored. You don't want to be at school. But then when lunch comes around, you kind of just finally are able to relax and actually talk to your friends, and whether it be just BSing or talking sports, talking games, talking homework, whatever it is. Um, I think the lunch table is definitely one of my favorite places to just catch up with friends. And I don't know about if you had it, but obviously different lunch tables at school where you kind of went to like the same one every day, but each one is different.
Yeah. In
Yeah.
my in my middle school, what happened was so my middle school was K to 8,
Mhm.
and the ones I remember obviously are like 6, 7, 8. So that's what I'll use.
Yeah.
The lunchroom was not divided, but divided so like sixth graders sat at these four
Yeah. Okay.
tables. Then the seventh grade was in the middle at these four, and then eighth grade
Mhm.
right at the back.
Yeah.
And then in high school you kind of just sat where you want. You
Yeah.
had a table, but like you sat where you want.
Yeah. I mean, so my elementary school was pre-K to second grade, which is weird. And then there was a middle school, like elementary middle school, where it was third grade to sixth grade. And then 7th through 12th was in the high school building. So there were 3 buildings that you had to go through.
Okay.
So it was a little bit like small, like divided a little bit smaller. But each lunch period block was different for everybody. So like the younger kids would go first. Next period it would be the middle class, and then one of the last periods would be the older kids. So I wasn't sitting with second graders or sorry, like third graders when I was in 6th grade. It was more like 5th and 6th, and then 3rd and 4th, and then, whatever else. But even so, like the divisions of the lunch tables in school were kind of I guess stereotypical or typical. You had the jocks, the class clowns, the cheerleaders, the I don't know, nerds. It was definitely stereotypical in my school. I don't know if it was the
Oh
same for
yeah, it
yours.
was for me. I was able to slide in with the popular kids somehow. Um, did you have lunch money?
So
Like,
so your parents could sign you up for lunches. So you get a roll of tickets in the beginning of each month or each semester. And if your parents paid for this many tickets, that's how many you would give per day. So there were lunch money tickets, or if you brought lunch, like for me, I brought lunch most of the time, but then maybe like on a Friday or something, I just want a slice of pizza, so I'd give them cash for that. Does that make sense?
yeah, okay.
Why do
I
you sound so confused at
because
me?
okay because my middle school, because I'm pretty sure by law schools have to give you a meal nowadays.
Yeah.
Back then, you they were required by law for you to eat.
Mhm.
So you were given the bare food, like you got the meal, the you got the meal, the drink, and like the required like vegetables and fruit.
Mhm.
But everything else was extra. So like you were entitled to a meal
Right.
that you didn't have to pay for, and that if you were buying lunch, you could
Mhm.
get. Everything else was on like so like we had a couple of vending machines at my middle school. You had to
Whoa.
pay for those.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's. I didn't have vending
they
machines till
they
high
were
school.
they were very simple, like ice cream and like
Ice
water
cream
bottle. Yeah,
in a vending
but
machine.
that'll make more sense when I tell you
Okay.
what high
Good. So
school was.
okay.
So, and then you could buy like a snack.
Yeah, like
Like you could,
chips
yeah,
or
you could
whatever.
buy it. Yeah.
Mhm.
In high school, you kind of did the same thing with the tickets, but you kind of just put money in the account. So like some people would put like, oh, you put enough money for the whole year
Mhm.
to get lunch. Then you could buy snacks, but that snack was actual like an area. Like they had like baked goods, they had
Okay.
like some other things. They had the canned food, they had the vending machines, all that kind of stuff. That was
Mhm.
all extra. So in high school, you actually had to buy it, but like there was never any like and like in cartoons, like when bullies are like, "Give me your lunch money." Like no one was
Yeah.
walking around with like money that's like for
Just for
lunch.
lunch. Yeah. I mean, I remember in middle school, like elementary school, you would have the ticket thing, but then if you wanted snacks, so like towards after they served everyone their hot lunch, they would put out pretzel sticks for 10 cents, cookies for I think it was like 45 cents, and then a bag of chips for 65 cents. And that was elementary school. But then going to high school, you have your student ID number. So it's kind of like a pin pad where you would put in your
Oh
ID
yeah,
number.
that's how
Yeah. And you have the balance like you were talking about. But there was like the hot lunch, you could choose, there's a menu every day. You choose between whatever you want on the menu. But then there's also you can get salad. You can get a bagel, a bacon, egg, and cheese, mozzarella sticks, whatever you want. So every day there were bacon, egg, and cheese, mozzarella sticks, salad, but obviously the other stuff. And then there's like the ice cream machine, but the vending machines in your school, in middle school?
Yeah, it wasn't like anything like it was literally just like a Turkey Hill like
Even
gave
so,
you
like,
yeah, but like I think just bad memories of that school just taint it. Like,
taint the Turkey Hill.
yeah, and like I forget if there was another one for drinks. I don't think there was.
Yeah, because I only
But
had one for water and one for zero
yeah,
Powerade, and that was it.
um, yeah. But in terms of lunch money, there was no like lunch
There's no
money.
physical
There was no
source.
physical money for the meal of
Yeah,
lunch. It
yeah.
was you brought in extra money
Okay.
for an add-on.
I guess same thing with me, I guess, but
Yeah.
with the
Either way,
tickets.
podcast sounds good. Titled
Yes.
that.
Yeah. It
Um,
rolls off the tongue. Well,
it
lunch
does roll
money
off the tongue. It does
podcast.
roll off the tongue.
Um, I think after knowing us now, we can get into the second part of the episode that we had thought of, um, which is the Five Nights at Freddy's movie review. So, I'm just going to say it now. If you have not seen this movie, these are
Too bad.
spoilers. You are listening to spoilers. So I would turn off the show or watch it, come back, or just listen to us talk about a movie that you have no idea what's going on in. Either way.
Or you could take the road less traveled and listen to us talk about it and then go see it
That is true.
and
We are
see what
not
you
getting
think.
commissioned for getting you
Doing
to
this.
go see the movie.
Yeah.
Maybe. I'm not.
I don't know. I don't know. Scott seems a little preoccupied right now.
Just a bit. Okay. So, Five Nights at Freddy's movie. We both saw it the day before it was supposed to come out.
We
We
went to
got
the
the
early release.
yeah, which
Not
was
because we're special or like got
no,
special
it's because we're
permission,
special.
just because the theater around us was offering the day before showing.
I would say we're pretty special.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah. So what would be your number rating for this movie? Just to start off.
let's see.
I know it's tough. You have to think of the different aspects that kind of go into
So
this rating.
okay, so it's tough, right? Because say whoever's listening to this
Mm.
just knows it by memes and like didn't play any of the games.
Yeah.
You're not gonna like the movie.
No.
I'm just gonna say it straight up. If you didn't play the games, or if you didn't play the games or don't know like at least some of the lore behind it, you're not gonna like this movie. This movie's not gonna be for you.
No. You'll just think it's just a bunch of robots and it's all fun
Yeah.
and games. Yeah, you won't get it. It
Yeah,
might be entertaining, but you won't get as much fulfillment as if you
yeah.
would.
With that being said, having played the games, okay. Let's be honest here. I played Five Nights at Freddy's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then watched Markiplier play the rest because that's what we all did. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Um, knowing the lore, very in depth in the lore.
Mhm.
Somehow, I kind of stumbled upon it by accident, and then just kept going down the rabbit hole, whether it be Matt, Pat, or like someone else. This movie was okay to good.
Okay.
A solid 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Argument could be made for 8. The reason why it's that low is because the bare bones of it. Me and Ken were talking about this after we saw the movie.
We had a little powwow at the Applebee's.
Yeah.
Over some dollaritas about this movie.
Yeah. About this movie, and I don't know if I want to say it now or let you do it because I'm gonna be very long-winded.
Okay, so
I don't know.
let me give my rating. Let me give my rating, and then we can, if you want to go into the the why as to the ratings. We can go off that.
Mm.
I am very similar in your rating and in your reasoning also. I gave it a 7.5, I would say. 8 is pushing it. 7, I think, is a little too low. I think right in the middle, 7.5. But just like Frank said, if you have not played the games, if you have not read into or watched anything about the past or the lore, you're not gonna get this movie at all. You're not gonna really find it as enjoyable. And there are a lot of things that we're going to touch on as to why knowing the backstory behind this is so important and enjoying the movie itself. But yeah, I would say 7.5 for me.
I think what we first need to get out of the way of why we're saying that you're not gonna like it if you don't know anything about the games. It's because you're gonna hear us say this name a lot, so I'm gonna get it out of the way. Scott means Scott Cawthon, the guy who made Five Nights at Freddy's. He wrote the story, everything, with Blumhouse Productions. And Blumhouse Productions has made some very big movies, like the Insidious franchise, Megan, The Black Klansman,
some
Whiplash.
crazy
Known movies, like
Yeah.
the reboot of Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Their goal, and Scott said this, and the director, who was the director of Five Nights at Freddy's? Emma Tammy. She said, along with Scott, they said that she was like the 5th director picked, and they rewrote the script like 7 times because they were like, we're not making this movie to get people to play the game.
Yeah,
this movie is for people who played the game.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and props to Scott and Blumhouse for doing that, because that's not what a lot of like movie or video game movies do now.
You
like,
won't see that in the Super Mario Bros. Movie. You won't see that. Yeah, I agree. Knowing that they made this movie for those who have grown up on playing Five Nights at Freddy's. I remember the first time I played it. It scared me half to death.
Because I remember when it was announced, I was talking to one of my friends, and we both were kind of the opinion, like, it's probably not going to be good. Like, we've accepted that, like, this movie probably won't be good. It's just seeing it be made was just the joy enough. And then Scott said that, and then we saw the pictures of the animatronics, and we saw the trailer, and we were like, oh, okay,
it kind of
really made it, and Shaggy was in it.
It kind of made it seem like the movie was made for us, not us specifically, but the people who have been fans of this franchise, this series, this story behind it. It kind of made it feel like they made the movie for us rather than for something like the Super Mario Bros. Movie. They made it for anybody who wanted to watch it, and I mean, everyone knows Mario, but knowing that the director and the creator was kind of like, we're making this for the fans, not to gain traction, not to gain more viewership or people playing the game. It's more or less making it for those to celebrate, giving them a gift almost of this movie. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I also thought that one of my big things was always that the reason Five Nights at Freddy's is so scary. For anybody who hasn't played the game, the premise is that there's 5 nights you have to go through as a night guard. And these animatronics in this rundown pizza place are possessed, and they try to kill you. The reason that the game, as the premise, is so scary is because, number 1, you're isolated. Number 2, you can't move. You can only move side to side to see the lights and the doors, and you only see motion through the camera until they're right at the door.
It's kind of like how we're right now. Like, we're sitting at our desks, we can look left and right, but can't get up, can't look behind you. You're basically stuck looking back and forth, and using the limited
The
amount of
cameras. Yeah.
technology that you have to try and stop these guys.
Oh, and there's a power limit. You can't.
Yes.
If you run out of power, they'll get you.
Yeah. So and
And
it goes from 12 a.m. to 6
6
a.m.
a.m.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, but each night the animatronics get more and more active,
Mm.
and so it gets harder. But I think the one thing that people are missing, right? And I said this that night. The basic premise of the game, you can't really make a movie off of.
Yeah.
It's
It would
all
be
of
a
the
very
theories
boring movie.
and yeah, it's all of the theories and all of the lore and everything that Scott made after
Mm-hmm.
the first game that made the movie. Because there is like a very deep,
Yes.
very deep
Very. Yes.
underlying story to the game that the movie bases off of.
Yeah. And I think also the way you're explaining the game compared to the movie, the way that they said they aren't trying to gain people to play the game from this movie rather than giving it to people who have played it is because if you're brand new to this game, this lore, and you watch this movie first before playing the game, you're gonna be like, what is this game? You know, this has nothing to do with what the movie is showing me. I can't get up, I can't see this, I can't do this. It's kind of, you're seeing behind the monitor or behind the chair, because when you're sitting in that chair in the game, you're, like Frank said, you're stuck in that chair. You're not moving. You can only look, but the
There's no
movie,
one else
yeah,
there.
the movie's giving you an inside look to what is happening all around the area that you're in the game.
Hmm. The other thing too is like the lore, because like there's some people out there I know for a fact that are going to do this after they see this movie are going to try to understand the lore, and you're
Yeah,
going to get severely overwhelmed
definitely.
because there's so much stuff like the Matthew Lillard's character William Afton,
Mm-hmm.
Scott Raglan at the beginning becomes William Afton. Like he just has so much lore about him
Yeah,
than like
yeah,
the locations and like why he made the animatronics, why he put the bodies in the animatron. Like
yeah,
that's the other reason, by the way. The reason that the animatronics are possessed is because this dude William was a very disturbed person,
so
to put it
yes,
nicely, who killed
very,
kids
yeah,
at,
kidnapped, killed.
and put them in the animatronics.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they move around because they're possessed.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I
what else?
I think that the after the movie, what's so great about it is like what we did when we went to Applebee's. We just kept talking about it. We kept asking questions. We kept theorizing what's next because you said that there isn't there. It's a contract of 3 movies, right?
Matthew Lillard said that he signed a 3 movie contract with Blumhouse.
Okay.
Obviously, we didn't know what that meant.
Yeah.
Now we know that
Yeah.
he's gonna go off of that. But I think the other thing too was that, so 3 movie contract, yeah. So there's gonna be more,
Mhm.
and they're gonna like I don't know.
Do you think that they're going to follow the um what's the word, the chronological order of what the games came out as, because the first game is basically talking about what the movie just showed us, where it's all in the original Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, has all the original animatronics, everything like that. But the next game isn't that with like you're in a bedroom and you're a child or something like that.
It's interesting because the first game is not the first game.
Right.
Chronologically speaking, in the order of the canon, the Five Nights at Freddy's 4 is first. That takes
Okay.
place in 1983. Then it goes to Sister Location, that takes place in 1985.
Okay.
Then Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is third. That takes place in 1987.
Is
Bite
that
of
the Bite of
87.
87?
Yep. Bite of yeah.
Is that the Bite of
Then
87?
then chronologically fourth is number 1. That takes place in 1993, which it did take place around that time.
In the
The movie
movie,
did.
yes,
In the
yes.
movie, yes.
And you could tell
Then
by through the technology they have, the
yep.
cars, stuff like that.
Then Five Nights at Freddy's 3, The Pizza Simulator, Help Wanted, Special Delivery, and then Security Breach.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how they're gonna do that because a lot of the lore, a majority of the lore,
Mm-hmm.
comes before
Yeah.
93. It
Yeah.
all happens from 83 to 87.
Yeah.
Um,
Whether that be the thing with Matthew Lillard, though, from 93, or sorry, 83 to 93, that's a 10-year difference. Obviously, with special effects, you can make Matthew Lillard look like anything. That being said, that brought up my question where, the movie that we just saw that just came out is taking place in the first Five Nights at Freddy's, which is chronologically number 4, you said, or number 3? Number 4.
no, number 3.
Because it was 83, 85, 87, and then 93, right?
Yeah. Oh, I lost the.
Sorry.
I lost the timeline.
I think it's number 4, but does that mean that the next Five Nights at Freddy's game is going to relay into the movie, or are they going to just play off of the movie itself, continue it, and make a new lore for the people?
I think what is gonna happen is that because the issue is with theorizing for this movie is that there's already so many theories that it could go ahead in time. But there's so much. I forget if Scott said anything about what the next one's going to be about. I forget, like, if he said that, oh, we're moving forward with a new story, or we're getting the other lore. But there's so much more lore that I think we would all want to see be made.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially for new eyes too. Some newer lore would make everyone happy.
Yeah, newer and lore that's like people know.
Yeah, like
And like is famous, like the Bite of 87.
Yeah,
like that's gotta
exactly.
happen.
And like looking at the movie, you can see there's a lot of Easter eggs. Well, we'll say that if you watch the movie at first, you might not notice them. I was lucky enough to notice maybe 1 or 2 of them. But if you rewatch the movie twice, maybe 3 times, you'll see most of the things. Or you could just watch a TikTok that tells you everything. But in one of the scenes, there's a mirror. And in the mirror, it says, "It's me." It's like a fogged mirror. Writes out, "It's me." And then when you're playing the game, the Five Nights at Freddy's game, when you see "It's me" on the screen, Golden Freddy appears, and it's a jump scare. It's cool. It only lasts like maybe 2 seconds at most, but when I think it was in the kitchen, wasn't it, when they were trashing the place, and the guy was in the kitchen.
It's me,
yeah, and it never showed us like what got that guy. That's why I'm thinking, Golden Freddy. It has to be.
Yeah. The other thing too is like, so Five Nights at Freddy's 4 was the scariest one. Because that was the nightmare animatronics and stuff, and the insane amount of lore that came out of that game that was confirmed. It kind of set the scene for everything that happens,
Yeah.
literally.
Mhm.
But yeah, like you said, the Easter eggs that were in it, like Balloon Boy,
Yeah.
um, being the biggest jump scare in the entire movie, by the way.
Honestly,
Um,
that damn kid.
the chalkboard in the
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
school that spelled out bear, chick,
Yeah. On the vocabulary
ox.
list. Yeah. Another question that I had, which was, I guess you could say is a pretty good question. In the movie you learn that, you know, oh, what's the main character's name? Um,
Michael.
Mike. Is it Michael? That's the brother's name. I like the guy's name.
Which
The security guard.
yeah, Mike.
Mike. I
Yeah.
thought so. So Mike's brother, we ultimately learn that he gets taken by William Afton, um, and you learn that he has taken other kids, put them into this animatronic suit, and that's who Mike sees throughout the movie, and that's who his sister draws and meets. But my question is, if Mike's brother was taken by uh by this guy, which animatronic is he? Or was he? Because he was taken, and obviously it is known that William Afton realizes this when he gives Mike the job, because he stutters on the last name. Mike ultimately finds this out, but it didn't seem like the pieces were really connecting in Mike's head that he took my brother, so which suit is he in? Or which one is he? And that was one of my questions, because it didn't really touch upon that at all.
That's definitely gonna be revealed
It has to
later
be.
on.
It has to be.
Um,
Just because, like, you see every single kid that the suit relates to. So in the trailer, you can even see it's a bunch of little kids in a forest. One is dressed up as Freddy, Chica, Bonnie, Foxy, all of them. And they all, Foxy has the hook and the eye patch, and Freddy's wearing brown. Bonnie has the ears. Chica has the cupcake shirt or something. But where's Mike's brother? That's my question.
yeah, and it's a very good question. Question that is going to have to be answered.
Absolutely.
I think I have found it.
Okay.
The question to the answer that I had, I forget how it came up, who you play as in each game.
Mm-hmm.
And this will bring me to my bigger point.
Okay.
In the first game, you play as Mike,
Right.
obviously. In the second game, there are other um, security guards named either Jeremy or Fritz,
Okay.
which could be Mike, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, you play as William's old business partner, Henry.
Okay.
Then in the fourth game, there's a little bit of debate I've seen. It is Mike's little brother. He's known as Crying Child because he's traumatized by the animatronics, and that's what ultimately kills him.
Mm-hmm.
For anyone who knows the lore, you know what I'm talking about. Then from there on, it's Michael. Like after that.
Yeah.
What gets me into my bigger point is that, canonically speaking, Mike is William's son.
Which
Canonically,
is not brought up in the
in the
movie.
movie, it is changed to Vanessa being his daughter.
Right.
Now, I don't know if that is Scott saying we're going in a different direction,
Mm-hmm.
but that is one thing I am confused about because canonically it is him.
Yeah. Which.
That's why there were a lot of points in the movie I was like, oh, it's gonna be revealed here. Like
Mm-hmm.
when he stutters on his name,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he knows this kid, but like he
Yeah.
doesn't know he's his dad, and it's gonna be revealed like Luke and Darth Vader thing.
Mm-hmm.
But
And
I also thought so. There's another canonical thing where like Mike is kind of being like eaten away, like
mm-hmm.
dying basically, and like the scene where they're in the school and they're like, oh, he's like half asleep, like he's like
Yeah.
dying, and then they said that, and I'm like, oh, but
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And I don't know, tell me if I'm wrong. Mike and Vanessa, I didn't know if I sensed some sort of like romance between them.
No,
Okay.
I mean it could
Because
be.
I'm only saying this because the games never, or the lore never revealed Vanessa being William's son, but it did reveal Mike being William's son. So does that mean that Vanessa and Mike are siblings? But I caught the vibe. I caught the vibe of the movie.
I don't know. Again, that's a big thing where like I don't know.
Yeah.
It's gonna have to be revealed. The second movie obviously will give us a way better taste, but
Yeah, I definitely agree. And one last question that I have actually thought of recently was, who explained what happened to the ant in the house after that night? This huge animatronic bear
Golden
is
Freddy.
taking this little child out of the house. No, the ant's sleeping on the ground. No, the ant is clocked out. She is dead on the floor. Mike has no idea fighting William and all the other animatronics. The sister's like, oh, okay, she's just sleeping, it's fine. What kid at that age is thinking that this woman's asleep? Anyway, my question is, what happens after that night? Everyone's so happy leaving the Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. They show Vanessa in the hospital, but this bitch is dead on the floor. Like, what?
My thinking is
What?
that like
I mean, I didn't like the ant. I'll get that straight. I did not like the ant. Nobody liked the ant. But
I
she got wiped.
oh yeah, no, she got wiped. But my thinking is that like so Abby didn't like her anyway. So they probably just played it off as like, oh, she left, then we're not gonna see her for a
Yeah.
while.
I I don't know. But like, how do you explain that to the police officer? Oh, what happened
Well,
here?
if you remember, they clean up after themselves.
That is true.
They clean up after
That is
themselves.
very true.
So she was gone. The Golden Freddy did something that she was
Something.
gone.
Yeah. And then
Um,
they get into the van and
I, I think the last thing that needs to be talked about this movie
mm-hmm.
is the cameos, which was the
Yes,
best part.
absolutely. Best but worst, because we had very high hopes for for a special someone to show up.
Okay, I did not have high hopes for that special someone, but we can.
Something.
So the first big one that we see
Mm.
is Matt Pat.
Yes.
And for the people who don't know who Matt Pat is, he is basically the person who has taken explaining the theories on his back.
Mm-hmm.
He's like the main presenter for the Game Theory YouTube channel, which explains every theory about every game that has
Yep.
some sort of, if there is like a page of lore, he will explain it.
Yes.
So he was the waiter in the diner the first time we
Yep.
meet that, or like when the aunt, it is revealed that the babysitter is like trying to get dirt on Mike.
Yeah.
And he said his catchphrase, "It's just a theory." That was great for me, to be
Yep.
honest.
Frank, I can attest, Frank was freaking out when that happened. We went, Frank and I went with our friend James, and it was
Oh, I grabbed his arm
it's
and I'm
like
like,
two little kids seeing Santa Claus for the first time. They were very, very hyped.
because, see, for me, I've rewatched that scene a lot.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I didn't see him at first.
I
Didn't
didn't.
realize it was him
I heard him.
because I heard something like the
Mm-hmm.
waiter, but like I didn't put it together. And then someone in the crowd said, "Oh, it's Matt Pat." But at that time, they were focused on one of the other guys, and I'm like,
I think the brother.
the brother of the
Yeah.
babysitter.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, no,
Like,
that's not
no.
that's not him. Then they pan to him, and I'm like,
And everyone's
oh my
freaking
god,
out. Everyone's freaking out. Everyone's so
I
happy.
Fun fact: I watched Matt Pat's video after.
Mm-hmm.
he was the first scene shot in the whole movie.
Really?
He was the first scene shot. He basically every other video that he made from the trailer dropping to the movie coming out
Mm-hmm.
before it was revealed that he was in it. He had the entire script and he basically faked it
Mm-hmm.
that he didn't know it was going to happen.
That's
He
cool.
he also was like he didn't sign an NDA.
Mm-hmm.
That was crazy to me that they didn't have
That,
him
yeah.
sign an NDA
I'm surprised about
because it
that,
was
too.
kind of known. It was like don't.
Yeah, like, don't.
It was said without being said.
Yeah, of course.
The other thing that I thought was cool was he saw Scott that day.
Mm-hmm.
Scott was on the scene, but to like obviously like to the production crew, who most of them are probably just looking for like just working on the movie and don't play the games. They don't know who he is.
Right.
So the director said we have a special VIP coming to set, but the caveat to that, whatever this VIP says, you listen to.
Yes.
So like if he says this should be like that, that should be like that.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought was cool. So and like the first scene being shot in the whole.
Yeah, I thought.
That was the cameo for me. There was another cameo in there. I personally did not watch his videos.
Well, I'm looking at the
Forget
cameo
his name.
list right now. There's Fusion Z Gamer, who trying to see. It's June's Employee of the Month film. He's in the Employee of the Month film. Um,
Oh yeah.
in the first.
There's also Corey X Kenshin. I personally have not watched his
Mhm.
videos. Taxi driver.
Yes, he's the taxi driver.
Um,
I thought he did great. There's 8-Bit Ryan, who is also in the as an Employee of the Month for December. That is showcased in the movie. Then there's Baza Malam, excuse me if I'm saying that wrong, another Employee of the Month. Razbowski, Employee of the Month again. A lot of the cameos were just Employee of the Month.
yeah. I I think
Yeah,
the
same
one
thing.
cameo that we have to talk about
Yeah, we'll touch
that
on
didn't
this
happen
one.
was one Mr. Mark Fishbach,
Yeah, I was
also known as Markiplier,
yes.
was not in the movie.
No. I was
I'll
upset.
let you give your
Yeah, I was upset because I didn't know many of the other cameos. I didn't really watch them. I mean, you know the whole thing about this movie is it's like you said in the way beginning of this review. It was made for the players. When you think Five Nights at Freddy's, you think of Markiplier, and granted, he had other previous endeavors to attend to not be in this movie. But just waiting after the credits, just waiting for that the one face or one saying or something to show up. I seriously thought that even though he said he was not in the movie, something. Being an Employee of the Month, being a cab driver for a scene, it really. Granted, I don't know what it's like in the movie business. I never will know what it's like in the movie business. But for one scene, I did not think that it would take that much, but I guess it does. That's my take.
I thought, well, that's a good point for me to piggyback off of. Matt Pat said that it for his line that was literal 30 seconds took like 6 hours.
Yeah. Okay.
It took a day.
Yeah, basically.
So, but see, my thing is that we know that Markiplier is working on a movie called Iron Lung, which I am very excited about.
Absolutely.
I knew because I listened to his podcast called Distractible. He said that he was going to be in the movie. Scott called him, and he was going to be in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
However, due to the Five Nights at Freddy's movie being pushed back for so long, because people don't remember that they were talking about making this
Yeah.
movie 5 years ago.
This was, yeah. I don't
This
think a
was
lot of people
like
realize that either.
this movie's been in the works for like almost 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
It kept getting pushed back, and Mark kept going forward with Iron Lung.
Yeah.
That by the time they were ready to shoot the scenes, Mark was already filming Iron Lung. And there was a day, he said there was a day where he wasn't filming, but Five Nights at Freddy's was, and he was going to go and he was going to be in the movie. The day that Five Nights at Freddy's was going to film got pushed back.
Of course.
And it got pushed back to a day where Iron Lung was filming. And
Yeah.
it was only going to be that day because it was such a short scene that he was going to be in.
Yeah, it was a series of unfortunate events that did not allow him to be in it.
He's got to be in the second movie.
Yeah, at least a bigger role too.
Especially with some of the theories that we think is going to happen in the second movie. Bite of 87.
Yeah.
He could be the guy.
The guy that says, "Is that the Bite of 87?" Yeah. I definitely think that he definitely has to be in the next movie. In a bigger role, not Employee of the Month shit, you know. Put him as a character for sure.
Yeah.
A couple scenes if it plans out. Anything.
Overall, the movie was a 7 for me.
Yeah, 7.5 for me. I actually enjoyed it. I wish it was a little bit more scarier. A little bit more scary. Just because of how eerie and anxiety ridden the game is. Granted, the movie's not like the game in completion. There are bits and pieces. I say the movie is more lore and theories than it is the game. I wish it was scarier. I enjoyed it. I thought there were some good bits that were funny. I thought that it played into the lore. It made people question. It made us question. I enjoyed it. I'm ready for the next one, for sure.
I think it's about all the time we got here for this first episode.
I think so too. I think that was a really good episode. This is the Lunch Money Podcast. We're doing it.
Yeah. We'll get a solid schedule when it's going to come out.
Definitely. And we'll have some. We'll think of some different segues, some different topics. Each episode is not going to be a movie review. It's going to be different every time. But we'll get some different parts in there. We'll come up with some cool names, some cool things to do. But for right now, this is where it started.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that episode. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, I did too. I hope you all enjoyed it as well.
Absolutely. So if you are not already, please follow us on our social medias. We have Instagram, we have YouTube, we have, I think Spotify we're putting this on. I don't know if we're putting this on Apple, maybe. But wherever you get your podcasts, that's where we'll be probably. And follow us online to get updates on our next episodes and to just chat with us. If you have any suggestions or any ideas, any questions, feel free to message us at the Lunch Money Podcast on Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. All right, kids.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Go to sleep.
Yeah, good night. What do I say? What is it? Class dismissed.
Bell rang. Gotta go back to class.